everyone, welcome back to the Kindling Dating YouTube channel. I'm Eimear, your straight talking dating coach, and today I'm with Susan, who is an ex-designer with 28 years of design behind her and now a certified transformational coach. And she specializes in imposter syndrome and negative self-talk, which definitely are things that we all kind of challenge ourselves with a little bit every now and then, I think. So thank you for joining us. Hi.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
So do you want to tell us about how you got into this and your journey?
Yeah, cool.
Being a
Yeah,
coach?
absolutely. So yeah, my career now is very different to my old career. So I was in the fashion industry for all those years. I was a fashion designer, amazing career, traveled the world, went to lots of places, got paid to go to Milan, Paris, New York to shop. Absolutely incredible. However, I was crippled with imposter syndrome throughout that entire creative career. I didn't really thoroughly enjoy what I should have enjoyed because of my imposter syndrome. And it sounded amazing that I was going around the world and I was meeting lots of famous people and I was at beautiful fashion shows, but I had an inner critic that was telling me I wasn't good enough, I wasn't worthy enough, and I really shouldn't be there. So I didn't actually enjoy that time as much as I should have. 4 years ago, I then fell off the perch. I burnt out through all that and took a year out. I thought I'd go back and freelance. First time ever, I decided I'm going to hand in my notice and sort out this inner critic, this imposter syndrome that I had. I did. It was an incredible, amazing experience. And I thought, I can't go back into the fashion industry as a fashion designer. I have to be going back with all that knowledge that I have about imposter syndrome and your inner critic. And I need to go and help all those other people that suffer in silence with theirs barking on their shoulder.
Or barking on your shoulder.
Barking on the shoulder. Mine does. Mine sits on my shoulder. Yes, it was very, very busy talking to me. And I became a certified coach. I went and done my training, and now I coach other creative professionals all around the world that are in amazing creative jobs, creative directors on paper. They look, whoa, they have it sorted, but they have imposter syndrome and negative self-talk. And coach them through, tell me about it, tell me about your experience of it. They obviously know that I've suffered from it, so I'm a good expert on, I know how busy the inner critic can get, and we work on tools for you to overcome it. And here I am. That's what I do now, and I absolutely thoroughly enjoy it.
Well done on taking the jump and having the bravery.
Yes,
That's scary,
absolutely,
isn't it?
it is. But it's ironic because what brought me down is now a new career that I have, and it's quite ironic, really, that I'm now to help people from what I went through, and that's great.
Yeah, kind of slightly similar journey to me. I also worked in fashion. Single. and then that's now become my mission, to help people get unstuck.
Yeah, they always say the great people are the people that have gone through it themselves.
Yeah, that personal experience does add a different element, doesn't it? I think with imposter syndrome, we always think of it as like quite career focused, and that it shows up in your professional life. But I guess it must impact in personal lives as well.
Absolutely, you're right. Absolutely. Because basically it's, I'm not good enough. When will they find out? Is it a fluke? Is it, it's so, you can imagine, and it happened in my private life as well. So I was a big sports person, and whenever I was doing a team sport, I used to look around going, when are they going to find out that I'm not actually that good enough? So it comes up in lots of things. It can come up in relationships, most definitely. You can imagine when you're even writing your profile for a dating site, you can imagine if you do suffer a bit with it, is, well, I'm not worthy enough to even write some lovely things about myself. I'm not good enough. And certainly, when will they find out? When are they going to find out? We'll find out what, because it's all in your mind. That's the problem. It's all, and then with the negative self-talk, is you truly believing in those thoughts that you're telling yourself. So if they're negative, that's what your mind truly believes. So can you imagine that when you're trying to go on a dating site, when you're trying to meet someone for your first date, you can see the impact that that's going to have on you if you have this default negative mindset about yourself. But is it true?
And I think that's the challenge with that inner critic piece, is like, if you believe that to be true, you will find reasons to like,
look for
yeah,
reasons.
you'll look for reasons to convince yourself that you're right.
That it's easier to find those when you have that negative mindset, far more comfortable finding things that we're not good at and listening to it than we are giving ourselves the permission to actually be really lovely to ourselves and proud of ourselves, and identifying, actually, I've got a list of things that makes me an amazing person to go and date, worthy enough to go and meet that person, that other person as well. So yeah.
Actually, one of the first exercises I set for my clients is to write a list of all the things they like about themselves.
Absolutely.
And like have it on your phone or someplace where you can just read it quickly when you need to.
Yeah, because the clients that I work with, when you have it really bad, you truly believe that you aren't good enough. You do truly believe that. So the first thing you have to do is actually for you to really start noticing that you do have a lot of good. A lot of people that have it aren't very good at taking lovely things from people. Like if somebody says, oh, you're lovely tonight, we'll go, oh, it's just, oh, just, or, you know, I'd say to my clients, that icky sort of thing of, oh, please don't go into this. It's like, I'll try and sort of go on to the next subject, because, you know, they find it really difficult to take praise. So to coach somebody to actually start praising themselves is, you know, it's an amazing thing to do. And it's so important that they identify the things that they can give to a relationship. And because you have to build new neural pathways in your brain to tell it, this is the reason why I am good. It's not just, well, okay, I am a lovely person. What makes you a lovely person? When you write those things down, you then got evidence to tell your inner critic when it's starting to have that conversation with you. You've got evidence to give it, the reasons why I am a lovely person and why I am good enough to meet this person on my first date, and why I am good enough to write wonderful things in my dating profile. So yeah, it's really important to start talking to yourself nicely.
I also really like what you said there about, you know, you're constantly thinking, when am I going to get found out? And I guess in relationships that can quite often show up as self-sabotage behavior of like, before they find out, I'm going to end it, or I'm going to find a reason to dismiss them.
I'm sure, like, I'm going to have to tell them I'm already, you're already putting yourself in a position that you're not giving yourself the best. Also, even if something, a belief that you have about yourself, because beliefs are the things that take on throughout our lives, and a lot of them don't actually serve us anymore. So you could have had a bad experience in a relationship with someone, and you don't want, you're worried that you might take something from that relationship with you into a new relationship, when actually it's a new relationship, it's a new start. Is the belief that you're actually thinking about really true? Did it really happen? Are you just telling yourself? So it's actually working through, you know, where did that belief come from, and is it serving me now? And talking to your inner critic about, well, it's not, because I'm moving forward. Even if I've learned from it, I'm now going to make sure that I am, you know, this positive person, and I'm not going to keep bringing up my old beliefs, because old beliefs can snowball into a very, very big snowball. And suddenly you're not going to date anybody because you've convinced yourself that nobody's going to want you. And they're all your inner critic thoughts, that most of them aren't true.
Get out of our heads, inner critic.
Out of our heads. Can you imagine that if you can explain to your inner critic that you are good enough? I mean, already you're feeling a lot more confident, you're feeling a foot taller, and you're going to show your brightest side. And that's the side, you know, that's worthy to come out. You know, you are worthy enough to meet that person. And if it's not the right person, you're worthy enough to meet the next one as well. It doesn't mean because you might have had one date that hasn't quite gone right, you might not have aligned. That's okay. You just go, well, that wasn't right at the time, wasn't right for either of us, but I'm still worthy enough for the next one. Yeah, that you don't go down the rabbit hole of, oh dear, I'm not good enough, therefore because that's a really dangerous place, that rabbit hole.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
We've all been in it.
We could spend quite a lot of time in there, actually.
Like, I was just thinking, like, even if people don't identify that they have imposter syndrome, that negative self-talk and
That
inner critic and that rabbit warren
my
is
God,
definitely
when
all there.
you actually are more aware of it, you are talking to yourself the most in the day. Not to your friend, you're talking to yourself the most. So if you're spending all your time talking to yourself and it's negative and it's sabotaging, that's what your brain truly believes you are. That's the picture that you're painting for your brain to believe, and it does believe that. So you need to start feeding it some of the positive things for it to start acknowledging that actually there are positive things that you've got to offer.
And what's like the best or easiest first step to start doing that?
Yeah, the first step is actually acknowledging when your inner critic's actually quite busy talking to you, and that's literally grabbing that time and going, oh, hang on a minute, look what I'm doing. I'm starting to listen to my inner critic. So the minute you grab that attention, that's the first amazing thing that you've done. Yeah. The next thing is to thank it, because it's doing its job. Yeah, it's doing its job, it's looking after you. Well, thank you very much. However, and whatever it's saying, I'm not good enough to meet this person tonight. Well, thank you for letting me know that. However, I'd like to tell you that I am very worthy enough to meet this person tonight, because, and then you start listing things of the reasons why you are worthy enough, because you've worked on those reasons. And then your inner critic kind of like gets a bit, whoa, oh, hang on a minute. Well, they've never answered back before. They've never answered back before. And now they're starting to answer back. So you have to feed it with the information and the reason why you're good enough to meet that person tonight. And then you do it again and again and again, like several times a day. You might be doing this. And then 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, if you keep doing it, because the brain's a muscle and you have to keep doing it, eventually your inner critic quietens down, because you've taken control of it shouting at you. But you have to give it the evidence, the true facts. That's the kind of work that you do with yourself, is to start literally talking to yourself nicely. And I work with clients, and I get them to do a me file. So they start filling up their me file with lovely, lovely evidence that they are worthy enough, or things that people have said to them that have made them feel amazing or better, or an email or a thank you card or a birthday card, anything that will make them feel, that they are worthy enough. And then they can feed it to their inner critic when it starts getting around.
I love that, because it's a very actionable thing, isn't it, to be able to talk
very
back
much
and
very
say,
much.
actually, no.
Yeah, very much. And then literally be that person, like, go and do it. Start doing these actions, and then you'll start believing in yourself, because you're going to start talking to yourself in a much nicer way. And you'll catch yourself several times sabotaging yourself, but the good work is that you then catch yourself and you can readjust it and reframe in the way that you speak to yourself.
I like what you said there as well, about like catching it, and like the self-sabotage will happen, but you caught it, move on, don't let it pull you back in.
Don't let it go down the rabbit hole. So visualize, I'm standing at the top of the rabbit hole, it's come in, I've grabbed it, I have a choice on whether I take it down there or not. That's my choice. I'm going to choose not to. And I need to give it the evidence that I can stay above that hole. And you might go down it a little bit, but you'll realize that you'll go down it for less time. And you'll catch yourself and come back. It's a bit like when people talk about meditation. It's like it takes a while, you keep going off. So that's what I'm saying. You pull yourself back up and then you start again.
Because it's so easy, like when you sit back and then you just let it snowball into this.
It snowballs. And can you imagine how much space that's using up? It's quite exhausting.
Definitely.
You sort of think, 5 minutes later, it's like, oh my God, I can imagine in dating, that you've already gone, your inner critic's already taken you through the date that hasn't happened yet because it's tonight. You've already gone through the date in your mind and you've already played out the scenario of it going really bad.
Yeah.
That's when you start to snowball. It's gone so bad. I've done this, I've done that, and you've played it out in your head and it hasn't actually happened yet. Tonight, that's the future, but we've allowed that inner critic to play it out already.
One thing that you hear a lot in dating is like, I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste time. And what you just described there is kind of plays into that, where you jump ahead in your head and you go, oh, well, it's not going to be a good date, so I'm not going to waste my time on it. And then, you know,
they want to date me.
Yeah. And
it's
almost like not necessarily always negative on yourself. You know, they're going to be boring. It's going to be a boring day. Like, there's lots of other things, but it is still self-sabotage. It's still stopping you yourself from being
talking,
open.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Even when you're thinking of it, and you're right, even when you're thinking, oh, you know, I don't want to waste their time, I don't want to waste my time, oh, you know, even when you work on your negative self-talk, you can actually use it so that you're not thinking negatively about that other person either, as well. So you're actually quite open-minded on the date. It's like, instead of going in with a deep thing of, oh, they're probably not going to be good enough either, it's actually be open-minded.
Yeah.
They might be amazing.
Yeah.
They might be this to me. Yeah. I could give them that too. Like, be really positive about the evening. Yeah. You're going to go in there with a much better mindset than this kind of draining kind of mindset, you know? Because no one wants to be with a drainer.
No,
you don't want to be the drainer.
And then you'll have proved yourself right that they don't want to see you again because you were not
it's
positive.
like a circle.
Yeah. And I think like with dating, it's so overwhelming. There's so much admin to being on online dating, and then the actual going on dates, and you're constantly putting yourself out there. But I think with that inner critic voice, you're almost only half putting yourself out. So whether it's that you're being negative to yourself, or you're being negative to the other person, or you're being negative to dating in general, and the universe being mean to you, you're kind of half closing yourself off all the time.
Absolutely, you're right. And it's a two-way thing. It's how do I want to be, but also I want to make sure that I'm getting the best out of that other person. I'm not seeing them negatively either. Yeah, absolutely.
How, if you don't mind sharing, did you meet your partner?
I met my partner at a running club.
Oh, lovely.
So many years ago. I'm a very active person. I met him at the running club, and it took several long runs, and we kind of like built up a relationship there. So back in the day when there wasn't as much online dating, you know, it was kind of old school really, but I haven't had to experience dating, but I absolutely know many of my friends are, and you know, friends that are on their 2 divorces, and you know, it's the way that people are meeting one another now.
And it's funny because I think it's great in terms of it opens up the pool of people, but I do think it's also created a bit of a barrier. So like people aren't really chatting up anymore. They're not walking the street looking up to be like, oh, who might I meet? And you know, and then we're all lamenting like, oh, I just want to meet somebody through a running club or through something, but we're not actually putting ourselves into those situations anymore.
That's it.
It's a bit of a beast.
That's why you're doing so wonderfully in what you do, as well as a dating coach.
Hopefully just trying to help people get unstuck, because I've been there. I know exactly what it's like. I had that negative inner critic as well, but I think actually, as I touched on there, mine went a bit further. It went into being negative about the people that I was meeting and being negative about dating, and the defenses went up of I'm fine on my own. And that was the story.
Our inner critics are very, very busy things, but it's just so nice to know that you can take some control of it. It doesn't have to take over your life.
And any kind of final takeaways from people?
That you are good enough. That's it. You're good enough. You're worthy enough.
Where can people find you?
People can find me. It's called the Creative Space Coaching. So you can find me on that website. I'm on my LinkedIn site under Susan Walbrook. That's where you can find me. You can DM me on LinkedIn, or you can go onto our website.
Great. Thank you so much for your time.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.